you only start really liking stuff when you get good at it. And the point of the game is to keep the game going.
There's got to be another way though. You know, I was thinking to you that moment where you took the leap, you know, I often feel like most people that listen to this podcast often are at a point in their life where they're considering a leap.
Yeah.
I feel like we drag those type of people in. We kind of like, we're a magnet to those people. So if they're in a situation that they don't like, but it's not that painful, you know, it's comfortable. Well, that's the worst. It's comfortable, but a little bit miserable.
Yeah.
How do you get them to take the leap when it's so comfortable? My boss is promising me a promotion.
I think about death all the time. It's like, I'm going to die. And I think you have to agitate the pain for yourself. Like you have to stoke the pain. Like if you can't get through, because like it would be odd that you would be motivated by some weird passion. Like not everyone's Mozart and just like, I just love music and I see numbers and colors, whatever. Like some people are like that, but most people aren't. And so if you're not that, then you only start really liking stuff when you get good at it, in my opinion. And you only get good at it by doing it a lot of times before you're good at it. And so this is why I'm a big believer in this, is that when you are starting out, I think you got to find the thing that's the pain. And like pain motivates significantly faster and stronger than pleasure does. Like people are like, no, passion's the right way. It's like point a gun at a family member. All of a sudden, 10 out of 10 motivation, pain. And so like, I think people should use their pain more. And if they don't have enough pain, then one, maybe that's fine. And you're a dreamer and that's okay. But I will tell you that a word that I read in my like 6-month journey between when I wanted to quit and when I actually quit, there was this word that just like pissed me off. And it was this in this self-help or entrepreneur book. And it said, there are entrepreneurs and there are wantrepreneurs. And I was like, and it was like, wantrepreneurs are people who read these books and don't do anything. And, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't want to be one. I was like, I am one of these right now. And it just like felt so powerless. And I think that my entire life has been a lot of trying to have power. And I mean that in the true sense of just being able to direct influence in events. I've wanted to have more power to protect myself, protect the people I care about, et cetera. And I felt very powerless. And I think that I was in that comfortable, like my dad approved of my current situation. I had a job that when I told people, they're like, oh, that's fancy. But I felt powerless. And I hated that more than anything. And so I think if I want to say this to anyone who's listening, if there's anything you listen to, all the stuff that I described that was really tough that I went through was not as hard as me quitting my job. By far, the hardest decision of my entire life, bar none. Because the things that I was actually caught up with were the opinions of other people, the opinions of my father and the opinions of the people that I went to school with who I thought would judge me for leaving this good job to probably become a failed gym owner, and how lame that would sound compared to consultant, going to Harvard and blah, blah. Like I was going to go from peak white collar to a very blue collar, profession making significantly less because I quote loved it. And like, I'll say this again, but like sometimes you have to let other people's dreams for your life die for yours to live. And for me, it was like when I continued to every day not want to wake up, that was my wake up call where I was like, either I continue to live this way and not want to be alive, or I just risk the fact that I'll die to everybody else. And I think that like, it was the hardest decision of my entire life by far. All the hard stuff we went through, still the hardest decision of my life.
How much was money on your mind when you made that decision? The desire to be financially free to the point where you had millions.
It's weird. Money, Caleb would know this. Money doesn't really motivate me. I would say that, I love the game for sure. But I love playing the game and the tokens are there. But for me, it was beating my dad. You know what I mean? I didn't want him to be right. Like that's what it was. Like I didn't want him to be right. I remember like I'd be sleeping on the floor. I'd be miserable. I had, when I had my gym and I had no trainers, I was teaching all the classes. And so I'd wake up, I'd do 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7, 8 a.m. sessions. And then I would work out for myself. And then I would do I do all the marketing and the ads and the stuff that I have to do in the middle of the day. And then I would teach the 4 p.m., the 5 p.m., the 6 p.m., the 7 p.m. And then I would do sales consults at 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I would do the billing for all the contracts from 11 to like 12 to 12:30. And then I'd wake up again. And I did that for like 6 months. And like I started to like lose my mind because I wasn't sleeping. But even during like those times, I just literally, I would envision going back to Baltimore to my father and knowing that he would give me the false modesty of like, well, I know you tried, don't worry about it. Now let's get you back on this thing. And I knew that from that moment on, he would own me. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, I will do anything but go back to that. And for me, that was I would do anything. And so whatever that, maybe you need to agitate some pain in your life, to get out of your current circumstance. And just as a total side note, play it out. What if you just never do anything? Maybe some people just need to stop dreaming. Maybe they need to accept their current reality and actually enjoy it. Because there's a lot of people when they're 70 and 80 and they didn't do their dreams. And if they went back, like they didn't do anything, but that whole time they were dissatisfied because they didn't try. But what if they were just like, I have a good life. I have a wife who loves me. I've got some kids. I have a job that I don't mind it, pays the bills. I mean, if you go back 500 years, there wasn't people like, man, this is my passion. He's like, dude, I'm just rowing a boat across a ferry. And that's what I do. And that's what my dad did. And his dad did. Like, this is how we eat. And so like, we have these idealized versions of purpose that I think Instagram and all this stuff kind of make terrible. But like, I think there's a lot of honor in work, period. And I think a lot of people fool themselves by thinking that what they do for some reason is not honorable. And I think a lot of it is like the internal versus external scorecard of like, I was saying what I said earlier about like, I believe these things to be true about the universe or like the world. But a lot of those are like, what do I believe about myself? Which is like, I can choose to do work in this way, which then I can derive joy from. So like, if I'm shoveling shit, I can choose to be like, I will be the best shit shoveler because I believe that I will figure out how to do this more efficiently, and I will get better, and I'll have calluses on my hands, and I'll have a better back and whatever. But I will do this well. And I think you can find joy in work if you decide to do it well. So on one hand, if your dream causes you so much pain, then you will quit what you're doing and do it. And if it doesn't cause you enough pain that you're not pursuing it, or that you don't like, if you don't feel like you're in a cage right now, then maybe you're not in a cage, and maybe you just need to like the life you have, and that's cool too.
A previous guest on this podcast called Mo Gaudat said, we're unhappy when our expectations of how we think life is supposed to be going are unmet. And in that, there's something very sort of linked to what you just said there, which is we have this external expectation set by Instagram or whatever by people like us.
Yeah.
who are in a position of financial freedom and have built an audience who admire those people for what they've achieved. And if someone wants to be admired, they think, well, I need to be like Alex, right? And that I could be working in a shop, actually, objectively, like subjectively, having a great time in the shop, but I look up at Alex and go, my life sucks.
Right.
And like, so in that, I'm like, it's very difficult because of the pressure of external. Like, I was just thinking when you said it, then I was thinking, this whole idea of like passion and purpose is probably like 60 years old.
Yeah, it's make-believe. It's all brand new.
And it probably originated when we were like connected, like radio, TV, all of this advertising, which made us change our expectations of our own lives. When living in the village and like helping out at the bakery was probably delivered the same amount of happiness, core happiness, than being on the private jet and whatever else does now.
I think most people are just as happy, and just like, you're 50% happy, 50% sad for most of your life. If you're in an extreme circumstance, then change your life. If you're not, like, conditions, like, people get handicapped, they break their legs, they can never move again, and they have a dip in their subjective well-being, and they go back to the same baseline. And so like, the baseline is independent of conditions. And so the world wants to tell us that we need to change our circumstances, and then we will be whatever. But like, every modern religion, every Buddhist monk will tell you that all of that's from the inside, not the outside.
But these are words that me and you
can say
don't follow.
Yeah. Fair.
Because I'm sure that you've experienced like the attainment of a goal, and then I just need 3 times more.
Yeah.
I'm referencing a study there where they asked people how much money they would need to be happy.
Right.
And all the way up the income wealth spectrum, people said 3 times more than they have now. So people with 10K said 30. People with 3 million said, 9 million. No, I can do maths. 3 times 3.
Yeah.
And you, I imagine you still experience that now, right?
Yeah. Different reasons, but yeah, for sure.
When is enough enough?
I don't think it's enough thing. I think it's more like who I want to be.
Who do you want to be?
I want to be the person capable of doing that, doing X. Like we'll get to 1 billion, and then after 1 billion, I'll make it 10. I already know that. You know what I mean? But like, I love playing the game.
What is the game?
Game of business.
To what end? Or just for
To play.
To play.
Yeah, I'm sure you know more about this than I do, but like just game theory, like the finite and infinite games. Simon Sinek has a great piece on it. But yeah, with infinite games, you have known and unknown players. You have no agreed upon rules. And the point of the game is to keep the game going. And so a lot of times people will take a finite game where you have only known players, agreed upon rules, and a set outcome for winning, and they will apply it to an infinite game. So people are like, they apply a finite construct to health. They're like, I want to win health. It's like, you don't win health. Like, okay, you're in shape. Now what? You stay in shape. You keep staying in shape. I want to win at marriage. You don't win at marriage. You keep the marriage going. That's playing the game of marriage. If you don't win at business. You keep playing the game of business. And so we want to take these finite contracts and put them on infinite games. And I think that's where people get in trouble, because they're like, I have to keep moving the goalpost. But if the goalpost is to play, then you win by playing. And so for that, sure, we set goals for the company, but like, I'm 1,000% super motivated. And at the same time, if we never hit it, I'm just going to be happy that I was able to play. I also know that in 3 generations, everyone will forget who I am.